Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It is a live edition, a Tuesday edition of PodUp with Matthews in the Morning, coming to you from the International Diamond Center Studios, locations across the state of Florida, and right there in Celebration Point in the heart of Gator Nation. Go check them out, folks, International Diamond Center. Comfort Temp Heating and Air is your number one local HVAC company. Comfort is their business. Peace of mind is their promise. Today's show will consist of Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show, then we'll have Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. This will be our last show of the week. I'm out
Today,
of town.
Toledo will play Louisville at 1 p.m.
Sorry.
Las Vegas will take
That's
on
me.
Ohio at 8 p.m. Western Kentucky will play Southern Mississippi.
Yeah.
Morning.
All right, buddy, you're on the Titan Tomorrow hotline, Curtis.
Yeah.
Comfort Temp. What's happening?
I'm trying to catch up.
What are you trying to catch up, buddy?
Well, here's
Behind?
the deal. I'm having my get off my lawn moment this morning. There's just too much stuff in fine print. Trying to figure everything out. When you stop and try to get, number one, just remember who the head coach is and then his new staff, which has kind of been announced. I don't know these guys. We talked about it on my show last night. Then looking at the schedule for this year, trying to remember when the games were played. I had a moment last night when I sort of went deja vu on you. And I said, well, this is the first year they've had 12 teams in the playoff. He said, no, it's not. Last year. Oh, my gosh. I missed a whole year. Now, Shane, I remember the time when I was a boy, and you probably remember some of this because when I was a boy, the big thing was following Major League Baseball. And you got the box scores in the paper, and that was the big thing. You could follow your team. You could follow your favorite players. I knew every manager of every city, of every team, and most rosters, especially my favorite teams, the Cardinals, Red Sox, Yankees, etc. I knew their squad. I knew their batting average, their ERAs. It was so easy to remember everything then. Now you explode into the 2025. I'm lucky if I can remember what cities they have teams in. And then remembering that there's no division anymore in the SEC. And then remembering there's a playoff and how many years we've had 12. And then just trying to figure it out. And then try to figure out who these guys are coaching the Gators next year. We talked about it last night, the new staff. Excuse me. You know a lot more than I do. You don't know all that much about who these guys are. So we see this and we see these people going online, and God bless them because we have some great listeners on your show and my show that keep us up to date and up to speed, the good ones. Then we have some of these jackleg people who jump on there and give opinions every 2 seconds, and you look up who they are, and they got a Twitter account with 20 people on it. They're experts. So everybody's got an opinion. Seems like today everybody's in the media, and to do my job when I'm getting a little gray around the temples, it's a little more difficult, but I'm sure glad to be able to work with you. And by the way, Merry Christmas, Shane.
Same to you, buddy. Buddy, here's what I would suggest. All you care about is John Summerall is your head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Your OC is Buster Faulkner, and your DC is Brad White. Don't worry about any of that other stuff. Don't worry about it. That's because I don't. Maybe I'm in the minority, but I'm not worried about any of the other stuff.
I've seen complete lists this morning already of grades on every position coach, and some guy had the tight end and the running backs as Fs or D minuses. How did they know that? Please.
Well, first of all, I think position coaches. Too many people worry about the position coaches from a grade standpoint, which I think is just totally ridiculous. About how their position plays, right? That ain't necessarily the case. The running back is going to be graded by how the entire offense does and performs, and that comes from the offense coordinator. So, like I said, I would not worry about these people that do these gradings because I think Pro Football Focus does a great job at what they do. However, I say this all the time, buddy. They have no idea what the responsibility and the assignment is for any of those players that they're grading. They're just assuming they know, but they don't. So anyway, buddy, I know you were looking for the college football playoff games. We have one game, New Year's Eve, Ohio State and Miami play. And then on January 1st, you have the other 3 games. The first game on January 1st is Texas Tech against Oregon in the Cotton Bowl. It starts at noon Eastern time. Then you got, I think at 4 o'clock, you have the Rose Bowl, Indiana, Alabama. And then the nightcap, like it usually is, the Sugar Bowl, Ole Miss and Georgia. So that's the playoff games lined up. 1 on New Year's Eve, 3 New Year's Day.
But thank you for that.
Yeah, it is. I understand it's hard to keep up with, no question about that. So, buddy, doing all your research and trying to keep up with the Gator coaches, do you like the staff or not?
Well, I mean, what little I know, I'd like to be able to have a little more better feel for these people are. Like someone said, well, there's a terrible running backs coach. Well, I mean, I wish Jalou could have stayed. I liked him. He thought he had a big difference, but because all we can judge it by is the results of their players, and who wouldn't like what Jaden Baugh did, and he gets some credit for that. And they were always 3 deep in that position. And the coach from Duke, and someone tells me, had a freshman had 1,000 yards last year. I guess their productivity is the position, I guess, depending on how much influence they have. Like, I don't know how much Bubba Spurrier has to do with quarterbacks. I know he knows the position and he knows about the, whatever, how much, if he'll even be around. But like you say, there's so many staffers. There's only 10 guys on the staff. There's 1,000 guys who have some kind of deal with coaching there. So it's hard. It's just about impossible to keep up.
Yeah, you have Gators on YouTube says no one knew who Jalou was when Napier hired him. Look, he's a good coach, but his relationship with Jaden Baugh is not great. So that's not going to be a factor at all.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I've been told that by multiple people. I don't know what that means.
Well, it means what you said it means. That's just what you said there tells me something, because tomorrow is a big day. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Coach Summerall is going to meet him in Atlanta. And that number 13 is critical to this team now. I mean, maybe not the quarterback situation. DJ can be covered, but this running back position, which is manned by a guy who, by the way, is a terrific receiver. He could easily be a tight end. And I've loved him, as you know, from the time I saw him set foot on the field. Strongest man in the history of the program. He's durable. He doesn't get hurt. Shane, you always complain about guys getting hurt. Well, he didn't get hurt. He's an Iron Man. And I don't know what to believe about Texas, or whether they're still in the hunt or what. But this guy's I don't know how you grade this. Is he a $3 million guy? I don't even know. They're saying quarterbacks are getting $4 and $5 million, Shane.
Well, I mean, I don't believe half of the stuff that's reported out there. What's been reported with Jaden Baugh is Texas has offered him 1.5. We have an offer for 1.25, something like that. So you cannot overpay the running back position. You cannot. He's a really good player, but you cannot overpay it. Solid J on YouTube, brought to you by Quad Pump, says, if anyone put the new running back Coach Foster as an F, they are clowns, zero research. He has a freshman at Duke, number 2 running back in the conference, has placed 2 in the NFL in the past stops. And, oh, yeah, Duke, the dude is yoked. Yeah, I don't buy into all that stuff. If John Summerall thinks he's a good coach, I think he's a good coach. All right, a couple of things on Facebook Live brought to you by Meldon Law. Brandon says, Stevie, how awesome was it watching Phillip Rivers slinging around the yard at his age? Shanahan and Rivers were having a chess match, and Phillip was reading coverages and calling audibles, something that is lost with the new age QBs. Yeah, it was good stuff for sure. Here's an interesting comment from Reggie on Facebook Live, buddy. I don't know if you've heard this. This is the first time I've heard this, but I've been out of town a lot. And there's been a report that when Summerall met with the team, he came in saying this team will win championships. Only a few people clapped. Summerall went back out of the room and came back in and did it again. Lagway, from what I read, was a guy with his arms folded. If that's true, this is possibly why Summerall questioned what he was about. I don't know. I've not heard that, Reggie. But again, I have not really been in the loop of things
Well,
recently.
how would Reggie know that?
Well, Reggie, some of these listeners here, Jay, buddy, they do have some inside
No, I don't
information from
question that. I just said, how does
people.
he know? Who is he? What does he do? How does I mean, I don't. People question my credentials all the time. Well, how do you know? What do give what makes you an expert? I'm not an expert. I'm a reporter trying to find his way, and I have been for 60 years. And it's difficult today with all the fine print. And I don't profess to have any inside information because I don't. I don't have anybody I talk to on a daily basis like I used to. I have no real, connections. So I'm interested to know what people hear. I'd kind of like to have a little context because unlike just being online, when you're a so-called journalist, you like to be able to frame your reference or where it comes from. If you tell me, I believe it, Shane.
Reggie just says he's read that elsewhere. I mean, a lot of these people get some scoops. Some's true, some's not. I don't know the answer to that. But John
Yeah.
says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel, any truth to the rumor that Eric Singleton might want to reconnect with Faulkner? I don't know if he has any eligibility left, but I will take him if he wants to come immediately.
It's the second time I heard his name in the last 24 hours. I don't know much about him.
He was a phenomenal player at Georgia Tech, went into the portal, played at Auburn last year. He's a receiver, a slot receiver, dynamic. If he wants to come, they need to sign him up immediately. Gallo Car Wash is locally owned by UF alum and the only car wash that provides NIL opportunities to Gator athletes. Locations on Northwest 13th Street, Wilson Road, and coming soon to Jonesville. We got Buddy Martin on the Titan More Hotline, and then we'll have Scott Carter, who has written some really good articles. If you haven't read them, on John Summerall.
Mm-hmm.
He's gotten, I don't want to say he's close to him, but he hung out with him up in New Orleans for a few days. But we'll get Scott some comments on what he thinks.
And that's refreshing to have someone who actually, who talks to people. That's the thing that Billy never got. Billy, and I hate to keep trashing Billy, but Billy was more like, keep it out of media. I don't want you to know about me. And didn't want to reveal anything. Right. And Summerall's an all upfront guy who says, this is who I am, this is what I'm about, bring it on.
We're on 71 on YouTube, brought to you by Quad Plum. Says, QB, aside from the national title game, what bowl would be your preferred game to play in? I would probably say the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, Rose Bowl.
I think, it's the granddaddy of them all.
Yeah.
And, when I was growing up watching college football, being an SEC guy, you had no chance of ever playing in the Rose Bowl.
Right.
However, now it has changed, and Alabama's played in it multiple times during the playoffs and all that stuff, and they'll be playing Indiana New Year's Day. So,
Shane, what was your first Ole Miss quarterback that you started following? Who was the first guy in Ole Miss that you started following?
Well, I mean, obviously Archie was my guy.
Yeah.
He played with my dad.
Right.
But I never got to see him play at Ole Miss, obviously, because
right.
Playing for the Saints when I was a young kid.
Yeah.
My guys would be John Darnell, who's actually their sideline reporter now. He was the main quarterback growing up when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever see the video of the famous Halloween Eve LSU Ole Miss game? Billy Cannon's run. Did you ever see that?
Yeah, I saw the highlights of it.
All right. I've had numerous occasions to talk to people about that and actually heard it on the radio when it happened. And it was unbelievable. And good friends of mine who works at Sports Illustrated, one guy went back and talked to every single player who was in the game and talked about it. He said at one point in time, the cannon, that all 11 guys had shot at Cannon and couldn't tackle him. Amazing. Great stuff there from Ole Miss. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy in New Orleans with Georgia and Ole Miss there together.
Yeah.
New Year's Eve is going to be nuts in New Orleans.
Wow. Isn't it?
Dad has a question for you, buddy, on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law.
Sure.
Who are a couple of your favorite Gators that you've covered over your 60 years?
Well, I got a bunch of them. Of course, Coach Spurrier was one of them, naturally. I go through. I love the Reeves Alvarez. I loved Carlos Alvarez. I thought he was fantastic as a guy and as a player. Certainly, you got to like Shane. I mean, Tim Tebow was obviously, but my favorites were guys like people I knew on the staff and people I knew, the players I knew. I knew personally these players like Reeves and Alvarez, and Maxine was a favorite of mine. Just people that you develop relationships with. Now, watching or favorite meaning knowing. Favorite meaning knowing those are the guys I knew. I've enjoyed watching a lot of terrific Gator football players for a long time. And I love them all to this day. And that's my childhood memories, man. My first game, I was 12 years old, and I've loved it ever since.
Ben's question on Facebook Live brought to you by Mel Off from me. He says, Shane, does the return of Philip Rivers inspire you to dust off the pads and hit the field again? No.
Good question.
You got to remember, he's 44. I'm 55.
Yeah, a few years difference there. Yeah, that's a 55-year-old bones won't take that hit.
No, I can barely get out of bed in the morning, much less. I can still throw it a little bit, but
yeah. How is your body, Shane? Are you racked up from all those years? Really?
It ain't great, buddy. But here's my thoughts on that. I have both shoulders kill me, my back kills me, and my neck hurts.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
But it's one of these deals where people are like, well, why do you play golf? Okay, well, either I'm going to hurt and enjoy something that I love to do, competing on the golf course, or I could sit my ass at home on the couch and complain.
Yeah.
So, and I'm still going to be hurt. I'm going to be hurting at home, or I'll be hurting on the golf course.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go to the golf course.
Well, Shane, I have a lot of good friends who played ball, and one of my best is Terry Bradshaw, and he took hits like you wouldn't believe, and he used to sit there and he would beg people to please massage his back. It hurt so bad in his neck. And so many, Coach Spurrier has the same problem. So many quarterbacks deal with the neck and the spine area for those hits. It does take a toll on you. I mean, what do you do besides you take ibuprofen, and do you have therapy? What do you do?
I tried therapy, didn't work, so I just quit paying for it. I just tried to do stuff on my own. I try not to take much pain medicine, but it's only going to get worse as the older I get. So we'll see what happens. There's a lot of pictures of Archie. Archie has to use a cane, and he can barely walk around now.
Saw that.
He spoke to the Ole Miss team this past week, but that's part of the business. Part of the business.
God bless Archie. What a treasure he is, isn't he? It's hard not to root
for. It's crazy. A lot of people don't know that the Mannings did not care much for Lane, and they had not been back until this past game, the playoff game. Archie spoke to the team and stuff, so it was a big deal in Oxford with having them back this past weekend. All right, so we got this is Joey on Facebook Live, says, brought to you by Mel Law, says, have Gatorade replace Lagway with ball to make up the difference in Texas offer all kinds of ways to make up swords and money. That Gatorade money, though, is not like we don't control that Gatorade money.
Right.
That's a national deal, and I don't even know who owns Gatorade. I think Pepsi owns Gatorade now, but I'm not sure. All right, so we got a text here on the Titan More text line. I'm not sure who this is from. It says, please explain to me why someone like Lagway makes more than a rookie undrafted NFL quarterback, because people in college are paying more money than a lot of NFL guys get paid. I've always told people professional football is a great way to make a living, but you need to play a long time, right, buddy? Because, there's 52 guys on a roster, not counting the practice squad. Mm-hmm. And out of those 52, only about 10 to 12 of them make millions and millions and millions of dollars. Everybody else is usually making minimum salary. And that minimum salary is staggered depending on how many years you have in the league. So a rookie guy, I don't know the numbers now, but it's probably making anywhere from $300,000 to $400,000, which is a lot of money. But it's not when it comes to professional football. And the average lifespan of an NFL player is 2.5 years. So what they do is they just keep these young guys, and then before they have to pay them a little bit more money, they release them and bring in young players.
Yeah.
But there's tons of college football players, not just Lagway, making more than professional football players.
Yeah, well, here's the thing you have to remember. When you start getting all in the zeros and stuff, think, well, this guy's not worth that. It's the market, folks. It's what the market is. Think about your house. I've told the story many times, but the house that I bought for 40 grand and I sold it for 130 and thought I did well until I found out 2 years ago that it just sold for 1.2 million. How come I didn't get that? Well, the market changed. The market changes on players, market changes. It's just the way it is. It's what you can get when the market's right.
Yeah, and there's no rules in college football. That's
No.
the thing. We got to remember that. There are no rules.
Cap.
There's no salary cap.
Mhm.
They need to fix that in some capacity. We got a question here on the Titan More text line from James. Buddy, your thoughts on the Gator basketball team so far?
Watch out for him. I've talked to my good friend Franz. Let me plug his book again, by the way. Jeffrey Melton. Thank you, Jeffrey. Bought 100 copies and gave them all to the team, different people. And Melton does so many great things there, as you know, in Gainesville. But Franz tells me, look, they'll win the SEC hands down. They start their schedule. They're better than anybody in the league. Don't get lost because they've lost, what is it, like 4 games by combined total of 12 points, whatever it is, against great teams. And now you forgot about them. Now they're starting to win again. And Shimilu is starting to really play well. The guard play has been really impressive. Thankfully, finally getting some good play out of their guards. I think this team is going to have a great run. I think they're going to have a run at it again in the spring. And they get loads of talent, and the younger players are getting better. So I'm high on this basketball team. Don't get lost because of the record, because they're, 22nd in the country? In a few weeks, they'll be up there in the top 15. And down the road soon, they'll be in the top 10. I look for them to be competing for the Natty come spring.
Yeah, they'll be fine. I mean, conference play, the SEC is not what it was last year. There's still some really, really good teams, though. Yeah, we're playing much better against lesser competition. But it'll all start. I think we open up at Missouri, who is struggling right now before conference play. Barone tells me to get in the pool. I've been in the pool, Barone. It's one of the best ways to stay flexible and helps alleviate pressure off the joint. My joint, the only thing that hurts on me the most are, like I said, my shoulders, depending on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But my damn neck and my back. Oh, it's bad.
Yeah, you go to a chiropractor at all? I don't go do chiropractor.
Yeah, that helps. That helps for about, by the time I walk out of the chiropractor and then get home, I'm back to being the same, buddy.
Really? What's the strongest thing you take? Ibuprofen?
I honestly try not to take any of it, buddy, because it doesn't really help.
Yeah, I got you.
So no reason to pop a bunch of pills if they ain't helping.
No, I agree. I agree with you on that. That's definitely. Well, I wish you the best. That's just, how do you sleep at night?
Not great, but like I said, there's nothing I can do about it. That's why I'm still gonna go play golf, and I can play golf all day long.
Yeah,
I'm in pain, but
you're in pain when you don't play.
Exactly. So why not just go play?
Yeah, and do you you don't do any treatment for it at all, huh?
I tried. I mean, I did that for years, and it didn't really do it didn't make a difference. So why keep doing it, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's a bad thing to look at, or I just don't have time now.
Go see your buddy Dr. Pete and see if we can recommend something to him.
Dr. Pete's retired.
I know, but he still help you.
All right. I appreciate somebody sending this. This is a text on the Titan More text line talking about the strength and conditioning coach is a certified badass. Former Green Beret. At one point, he was responsible for trying U.S. military special forces group, training them. Also, there was a neat interview with him on YouTube. Also discussed training to prevent injuries, which was really cool. Yeah. So,
anybody know his name? How about his name?
Yeah, I think last name's Witt.
What? Rusty Witt. Rusty Witt. And apparently the last piece was put to, they added on Dawan Wilkins as a holdover to coach the Nichols and I guess the Nichols and safeties, whatever. I don't understand why the Nichols have to have their own coach, but here's the lineup that I just read. Faulkner White, but Marcus Davis, wide receiver coach, Chris Foster, running backs, Phil Troutman, we know about Evan McKissick, We trying to decide last night where he's from. Is he from Tulane? Offensive line, tight end. Joe Craddock, quarterback. Gerald Chapman, defensive line. Greg Gasparado, he's a new one. Bam Hardman, we know, is a Gator. Chris Collins is a safety coach. Um, Brandon Harrison and Rusty Wood, and Daywan Wilkins. That's your staff, ladies and gentlemen, from John Summerall's staff, starting soon in a neighborhood near you.
Yep, they probably started yesterday.
I would guess.
I'm getting all kinds of great recommendations on what to do for my body.
I bet you will. I bet you will.
I've tried them all. I just
Well,
got to figure out which one I need to do more.
Well, you got some people that care about you. I want you to endure that pain, man. I tell you, it's unbelievable. I got pain watching the playoffs last week. I hope they get better. Man, it was awful. Oh, man.
It was. But as I mentioned, somebody chimed in that 3 out of the 4 games the underdogs covered. I don't know if that's good or bad or what.
I don't know either what that means. I guess, look, I'm not looking. We know it has to be done. You can't have those group 5 guys in there. You can't have.
No, they need to have their own little tournament.
Yeah.
And then, but again, I don't know what the formula is, the correct thing to do. But you're not going to sit here and convince me that Duke did not deserve to be in.
Absolutely.
Even
Notre Dame.
Their conference championship game.
Well, I agree.
Notre Dame. But I still believe that Duke and Vanderbilt deserve to be in before Notre Dame.
What a great bowl game that would have been, right? Duke Vanderbilt.
Yeah. Supposedly high GPAs. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
possibly.
Yeah, what was that old show before your time? The GE College Bowl where they had brains competing against each other. Yeah. Well, anyway, you're right. They just lost their way, Shane. They completely lost their way, and so. But I'm not going to let it spoil my holiday. I'm off like you. I'm done for the week. I want to thank you for letting me be on your show, Shane. We've been doing this a long time. You know how many years we've been doing this?
I started right about a week or two before COVID hit. So 5 years?
I think close to 5. And you being on my show, so we'll get that to put up with each other for an hour each week. So thank you for your contributions to Gator football, your contributions to this show and my show, and Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Yep. Merry Christmas to you, buddy. And we'll be back at it next week. AU Gator says try turmeric. I tried it, didn't do a damn thing.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff out there. Well, we'll keep trying, all right?
Yeah, I'm just going to keep popping pills, buddy.
No, you're not. You're not
legal
pills.
Legal
ones, yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. All right, buddy. Have a great
You.
Christmas. We'll talk to you, I guess, on Monday. And
you got it.
That's Buddy Martin. He is
Thanks.
The host of the Buddy Martin Show. You can listen to it every weeknight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on all your different platforms out there. We're going to take a quick timeout, come back. We're going to talk to Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. He's written a lot of good stuff on John Summerall, your new football coach. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the Morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Atlantic Roofing, Campus USA Credit Union, International Diamond Center, J.F. Hayden's Craft Liqueurs, Los Linderos Tequila, Meldon Law, Titan MRI and Imaging, Castaway Sauce, UF Health Orthopedics. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sports, Comfort Temp, Florida Cracker Oyster, Electronics World, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, McDonald's of Gainesville, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Advocare, MG&A Wealth. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And to advertise, call my man Freddie, 352-284-3733.
With time running out, the head ball coach, Steve Spurrier, shares a play to score the perfect last-minute Christmas gift.
Spurrier's Gridiron gift cards are on sale for 20% off. You can go to spurriers.com and order a digital card or stop by my restaurant in Celebration Point and pick some up today for the Gators and foodies in your life. Use the code GC20 and get 20% off. That's right, 20% off gift cards with code GC20.
Hurry, this deal is only valid through December 26th.
The jewelry store with the most likes, the most positive reviews, the most raving fans is International Diamond Center.
IDC is definitely a place that I will come to as long as I live here. This will be my go-to place always.
Literally the best jewelry store in town. You'll make friends for life coming in here. I felt like family from the beginning. The value was extraordinary.
I've got a beautiful diamond on my finger, and I'm very proud of it.
International Diamond Center.
I'm very happy to show it off.
At Celebration Point and online at shopidc.com.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. Miapa Latin Cafe is proud to support Gator Nation for 22 years. New building, same great food there in Alachua. Check them out. Check out one of their 5 locations today. That's Miapa Latin Cafe. Back to the Titan Tomorrow Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. It's our man, Scott Carter, who has been hot and heavy writing great articles about the new ball coach, John Sumrall. What's up, Scott?
Hey, good morning, Shane. Doing well, man. Just got through having some Miapa coffee, actually. So that's good timing.
You're gonna be awake for a long time, then, right? That's some heavy duty coffee they make there.
You know, that's my favorite in town, man. So, but yeah, that's when I got some thinking to do. I like to go over there and get some of that Cuban coffee because you're right, man. It does wake me up.
Yeah. All right, Scott. Well, John Sumrall now has his staff put together. But I know you spent some time in New Orleans with him during the championship week. But, you've written some really good stuff. It's like, it's probably refreshing for you because you've kind of gotten, I don't want to say close to Coach, but you spent a lot of time with him writing about him and his career and coming to be the Gator coach. Just kind of fill people in on like the Cliff Notes version and then make sure they go read your stuff at Gator Sports, not Gator Sports, FloridaGators.com.
Yeah, I'm still getting to know him a little bit. The trip out to New Orleans was definitely fun, and just to get to see him in that environment. And he hasn't really been back around too much since then, but he'll be obviously now making that transition full time. And I was over there a couple of days ago meeting the assistants that, were on staff already, Buster Faulkner and Brad White. Wrote some stuff on them with the Q&A on their website just to kind of introduce them. But you're right, it's always kind of refreshing. You don't like these coaching changes to happen too often, but when they're needed, I think where the program was, it is refreshing. And I've probably told you this, I've told everybody this. I mean, if you meet John Sumrall and you don't like him, you need to look in the mirror a little bit. I mean, this guy just has an infectious personality, man. Now, what does that? I mean, when people can say, "Well, yeah, but Billy Napier was a good guy too," and he was, but it's a totally different kind of energy that you're feeling off this guy. And he just has one of those personalities that I think you could know him for 20 years or 3 minutes and you feel like you've known him for 20 years. And I think that's going to resonate with fans. I think it's going to resonate with recruits. I think it's going to resonate with boosters. So I think it's a much needed attitude change or something that, maybe I'm using the wrong word there. It's certainly a total shift from where the program is. I mean, this program needs a dose of energy, renewed energy. And, I'm sitting here, I was thinking about this morning. I'm sitting here for the third time in 4 years on December 23rd, not thinking about a bowl game. I never imagined not thinking about a bowl game with the Florida Gators. So, that's just where it is. And I think things are going to change. So we'll see. but I'm very optimistic right now. Like I said, I mean, I really have just been impressed by what I've seen, what I've heard, and I'm excited, to see where this goes, because I do think that he's hired a really good staff, and I just love this guy's passion for what he does.
Yeah, I have not met John Summerall at all. I look forward to meeting him here in the next month or so. But Scott, I think the thing that's impressed me the most, and a lot of our listeners obviously follow Twitter and things of that nature, have heard his press conference after the Ole Miss game. He was not happy. Obviously he went through a lot. I don't know if people know that he lost his dad last week. I don't know if he'd been sick for a while or what, but that could not be easy. But the way he's handled himself, with class, handling, coaching Tulane through this process and doing his responsibilities, what he could do for the Gators. But, and he made a big donation to the Tulane football program because he just felt like that was the right thing to do. Just talk a little bit about those things in case people have not heard about that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously last Friday the day before the Ole Miss game, his father passed away, and that kind of shocked me. Not that I met his father out at the Tulane game a couple weeks ago, and he was in a wheelchair out there, and I was talking to the mom, and I go over to talk to him, and I could tell that he was sick, but I didn't, I just figured he was maybe having a bad night. He was tired. It was late. So that was shocking, to see, but I think from what Coach Summerall said, evidently he's been in really poor health since March. And then he still coached the game. And you're right, he did handle. You could tell. I mean, he was a coach that wasn't just happy to be there. Like a lot of people, I think, well, getting Tulane into playoffs, you should take a victory lap. I don't think that's the way this guy is wired. He wanted to win that game, and so you saw that disappointment afterward in just the way the team played. He didn't think they played well, and but I do like the way that he finished it out there because, I think that speaks a lot to his character. I like the fact that Florida gave him that opportunity because, I know there's been some, angst on social media stuff about, oh, we wish he was here. It's not. I mean, it's this time of year. If you're gonna do something like this, take some time away. This is fine when your team's not in the bowl game. The transfer portal's not open for another 3 weeks, and if you really got a guy that you want who's in the portal, you still have a chance to talk him back in or get him back. So, yeah, that's all just, fans being fans, the ones who want to complain all the time. But I just like the guy, the way he's handled it all. And that speaks to me. That's who he is. And, one of the things that he did say while I was out there in New Orleans that struck me probably the most, he said, look, this is the way I am. I'm authentic. I'm real. No place is going to change me. You get what you get. And I think that was good news to my ears because I think what we've seen is if you're a Florida fan is what you want. So we'll see what the football looks like. He's got a lot of work, obviously, coming up in the next few weeks. Without question, this is going to be a difficult week. I'm sure he's, got his father's, memorial service and relocating his family here. So there's a lot going on in his world, but this guy seems pretty much built for these kind of situations.
Yeah, Franklin's question for you on YouTube brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Scott, what's the difference between how Summerall and Napier interacted with you?
I mean, this guy's he bounces off walls with positive energy, man. You think of a football coach and you think of a good guy, the guy like you'd like to hang out with. I mean, that's John Summerall. I mean, he's kind of fit that profile. And Napier, again, was a very nice guy. I mean, I like Billy Napier. I wanted him to succeed. But, all you had to do was watch him on the sideline, watch his press conferences. He's just a very cerebral, kind of calm presence that I think that's needed at times. I mean, you can't obviously go around throwing headsets and hitting whiteboards all the time. But I think in football, you've got to have some fire. You've got to set the tone for your staff, for your players. You've got to know that this means every bit as much to you as it does them as you ask them to go out there on the field and put it all on the line. And I don't think anybody's ever going to get that mixed signal from John Summerall in that regard. I think with Napier, sometimes the criticism that you heard the most from fans was, this guy's got to show some more fire, man. Is this guy, does he care if we win or lose? Or, I mean, so, some of that's probably unfair for Billy because there's no doubt he wanted to win, and there's no doubt that he did a lot of good things in building the culture. But you've got to have the complete package, man, in this day and age. And I think the most important part of leadership as a football coach is setting that fiery tone, because if you're not ready to go out there and play when it's time to kick off, you're going to lose more often than you win, regardless of how much talent you have.
Silverback Concrete builds firm foundations for generations. You stand on it, we stand by. We got Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com here. Asa on Facebook Live brought to you by Mel Law says, I am encouraged and excited. I love the enthusiasm. I think it'll take you a long way. I also like the preparation. I think the hires look really good, and I think a lot of the players that met him are sold. What do we know about Jaden Ball? Got the reports. I don't know if they're meeting today or tomorrow. Have you heard that? I think Summerall, Buster Faulkner, maybe the new running back coach, they're all going to, I guess they're going to go up to Atlanta to meet with Jaden Ball's family. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen those same reports. I don't know specifically what the details are. Yes, they're going to meet with him. They're going to try to get that ironed out. And, Jaden's obviously a guy who has options if he wants to leave Florida. But I know that John Summerall has said this publicly, said it privately. That's one of those guys you want to keep because he not only is a very talented player, he has that kind of passion, the way he approaches the game. I think that John Summerall does. And I think he's probably wanting to hear what the vision is for him, what the vision is for the roster, and, where this thing's going. So that's just a natural part of the game now, Shane. I mean, this is going to happen every year with your top players, whether there's a coaching change or not, because if you're producing, other schools are going to come and try to get you. And there's no tampering violations in the college football like there are in the NFL. So until there's some structure or guardrail set up, if you're a fan who keeps up with this stuff daily, just get used to these kind of situations. But yeah, Jaden Ball is a high priority, so we'll see how that goes. I know Florida's got an offer, and I'm sure he's probably got some other offers. So I think ultimately it's going to be up to Jaden Ball, as it always is. It's a player's market these days.
Just think about how crazy what we're talking about here. The craziness in college football. I'm assuming this is how it's going to go down. Faulkner, Summerall, running back coach, maybe the strength coach, get on the private school plane, fly to the Atlanta area, drive to his house. This is a dude that's already played for the Gators for 2 years. We're going there trying to convince him to stay. Just think how crazy that is in college football now. It's not like you're recruiting a kid out of high school to try to come to your school. He's already been here. But it's crazy when you just think about it.
No, it really is. And you're seeing some more, I think, voices of concern where the game is right now. I saw Eli Drinkwitz said some strong comments this week. You've heard Nick Saban and others. This is true fantasy football right now in the reality sense, because the way the game is right now, it's not going to be able to continue like this. And, unfortunately, we're in this period of, I just call it craziness. You can't pretend to be pro football. You have to either be pro football or you have to be college football with some real structure. And right now it's fantasy football. So I don't have the answers, but I have some strong thoughts on how it can be better than it is today. But the people in charge, they've got to somehow start getting on the same page, because if it stays like this, I mean, I think you're going to see some really destructive occurrences that are going to hurt the game's future. And it's a shame, because the game is probably as popular as ever. I think if you look at the TV ratings, but you just can't. It's not a sustainable model. Everybody knows that, and we're 5 years into this current system, and I don't know if we're any closer to a resolution than we were back in 2020 or so.
This text from George on the Titan Lamar text line says, Scott, love reading your work on FloridaGators.com. What can you tell us that stood out the most when you spoke with Buster Faulkner?
Without question, he's got this fire that's right there beneath the surface, and he was a cordial guy, and I enjoyed talking to him. But you could tell he had this fire, man. That when he talked about that part, I don't know if you read it, Shane, but he talked about winning, and this guy was an underdog player. I mean, he was 5'10". He said he had no scholarship offers after leading a team to a state championship in high school. He walked on to Valdosta State, led that program to a national title game. So he's one of those classic guys that he's been told basically you're not good enough your whole life, but he keeps finding a way. And he was talking about the last two quarterbacks who he really worked with, Stetson Bennett and Haynes King. Both of those guys are similar as he was. Stetson Bennett, you remember, he was a former walk-on at Georgia, and Haynes King bounced around until he got his break at Georgia Tech and really discovered his game. And I think that's what Buster Faulkner, that's kind of player he loves. And I've talked to a lot of coaches over the years, kind of in that same mold, and they all seem to have that thing about finding the guys who want it the most. Man, he'll overlook arm strength or speed or whatever. If the guy has that leadership trait, that quality where the team thinks it can be better than it is because of this guy's leadership and attitude, and I think he's that, and he just kind of he was that guy as a player. He's that guy as a coach, and it just struck me like this guy he's cut out for where he is. This is what this guy definitely is supposed to be doing. You could tell he loves the game. He loves offense. He loves talking ball. I'm sure you would have a great time having a conversation with him, Shane. He's just one of those guys that I like Summerall in a little bit, just the offensive version, I guess, of Summerall.
Yeah, I've met Buster once. I can't wait to sit down with him. I think he's got a tremendous offensive mind. He's going to do what it takes to win, especially from the quarterback position. And I just think that was a huge home run hire. All right, Scott, before we get you out of here, we got a text from George on the Titan Lamar text line regarding baseball. Says it's great having Sully back. Scott, when can we when can we wait to see your articles on baseball? I guess he's asking, when will you start writing about baseball?
Yeah, I'll definitely pick it up early next year in January. There's going to be a lot of football before then, with still, believe it or not, signing day, the transfer portal, doing some more coach stories. But yeah, once baseball gets rolling, we'll be over there and writing a lot about those guys. And Sully is back, and so that's good news. I think you look at this team, I think they have a chance to certainly be better than they were last year. I think with the pitching they have coming back and some of the players they've added. So 19th year of coaching the Gators, that's a long run. So we'll see if they can get back to Omaha. I think they've been there 9 times with him.
Yeah. Toby on YouTube brought to bed quality plumber says, I saw where Kerwin's freshman QB Tiger Dickens is in the portal. Any chance he's on Florida's radar? No. I think Florida will go to the spring quarterback battle. Will be between Tramel Jones, Aaron Philo, and possibly Colton Joseph from Old Dominion. You got any thoughts on the quarterback? What you hearing, Scott?
No, I mean, I think those names you just mentioned, obviously Tramel's still around. I think it's, he talked about the competition. That's one thing that he thrives on as a coach. I'm talking about Buster Faulkner here. He loves the competition. He says that makes everybody better. And as the game's proven, you need at least 2 guys who you're really confident in. And I think that's what he's pushing for. But he's had really good success with his last two quarterbacks that he's worked with, and I expect Florida's play at that position to improve with his direction with his offense. He said he's got he calls it a pro-style hybrid offense. Utilizes really tools from the NFL, high school, and college. He says being creative and at the forefront he takes a lot of pride in that. So I'm just curious as a lot of fans out there what's that going to look like this year.
Yeah, I want to ask you before we get you out of here, because we probably won't speak to you until after the college football playoffs, especially this round coming up. Who do you like winning the next 4 games in the playoffs?
I don't have the matchups in front of me.
All right, here we go. On New Year's Eve, you got Ohio State, Miami.
I've taken Ohio State.
All right, then you got 3 games on New Year's Day. The first one will be Texas Tech and Oregon in the Cotton Bowl.
I think Texas Tech is going to win that one.
I do too. And then you got the Rose Bowl, Alabama against Indiana.
Yeah, I think Indiana's going to win that one. And then that leaves Georgia against who?
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. I think Georgia's going to win. And I know a lot of our audience is not going to like what I'm getting ready to say, but I just got a feeling Georgia's going to play their best ball here in the playoff and win it all. That's just kind of, if I had to pick anybody right now, I'd say Georgia's going to be your national champion. I'm pulling for Indiana because I love the underdog stories, but I just feel Georgia's playing the best right now. There might be the team to beat.
I can't disagree. I'm a huge Kirby fan. I think what he's done there just reminds me so much of what Coach Spurrier did, coming back to his alma mater, and Georgia just finds ways to win, man. So we'll see. But Scott, appreciate your time, my friend. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all that good stuff to you and your family, and we'll talk soon, bud.
All right, same to you, Shane. Take care, buddy.
Yep, that's Scott Carter joining us on Titan Hotline courtesy Comfort Temp. You can read all of Scott's stuff at FloridaGators.com. You can also follow him on Twitter at GatorsScott. That's going to do it for this week, folks. We appreciate everyone joining into our program. Thanks again to Buddy and Scott for today. But we'll be back next Monday. Going to spend some time with the kids and the grandkid and all that good stuff here in the SIP. Have a great holiday, Merry Christmas, all that good stuff, and we will recap everything on Monday. Take care, folks.